my life started off, I was born into a very verbally, physically, and sexually abusive family. And I started going to the big church in our town when I was 13 because it was somewhere to go that wasn't home. And I got involved with the youth group there, and I wanted to start doing more things. And the only way you could do that in the church was to be a member. So one Sunday morning I walked up there and I was like, I want to be baptized. And my pastor was like, why? And so I thought for a second. I was like, well, I can't just tell him I want to do more things in the church. So I said, I don't want to go to hell. And that was good enough for him. So I was baptized the next Sunday. And from then on out, I was part of the church. I did everything. I was there whenever the doors were open. Sometimes when the doors weren't open, I was involved with everything. And when I was 16, my younger brothers and I got taken out of our home by Child Services, and I was put with a foster family who also went to my church, so that was nice. And I was away from my family for 9 months. My brothers and I were separated, and when we came back together, we went back to our parents' home. It wasn't any better. There was still a lot of abuse going on, and so I moved back out the spring semester of my senior year. And I moved in with a family from my church. And so I kept up the normal routine of going to church, and I started healing a little bit, but it wasn't enough to really matter. And then I decided to come to Chattanooga for college because it was far enough away from my family. I wouldn't have to deal with any of that. And so I came here and immediately got plugged in with Campus Crusade for Christ because my roommate was a member, and I filled out the little form that asked for a Bible study. I filled all that stuff out, and so I started going to Bible study, and I just really wasn't feeling it. I mean, I had the face. I could tell everyone, yeah, this is great. I'm learning this and this and that. I knew all the answers, but it just wasn't something that I really cared about. And in October, my little brother was put in the hospital by my father, and it was a hard time. And my Bible study just came together, and they like prayed over me, and they cried with me, and they supported me. And one night after Bible study, I told them during Bible study, I was like, I don't feel like a Christian. And one of my leaders came to my apartment and talked with me. And we talked till 4 a.m. and she went through the Knowing God Personally book with me, and it was things that I didn't know. Like, I didn't know about what true love really was. And going through the book, it was one of those things like I felt a peace as we were going through it. And so she prayed with me, and I genuinely accepted Christ that night, and my life started changing, and it was good. But I still had a few doubts. I was still struggling a little bit. I don't really know what was going on in my head. I was just sad, but I didn't want people to know that. And I kept the face, but I knew most of it. But it just wasn't a full heart change. And so we went to Encounter winter conference in North Carolina, and they had this prayer walk for one of the activities. And so I went through the prayer walk, and it was one of those things like you don't talk to anyone, you have you and Jesus time, and that was it. And as we were going through there, and I felt really convicted, but I wasn't sure why. Like, I didn't know why I felt convicted. And at the end of the prayer walk, they have a paper set up all over the floor, and you can take a piece of paper, and they want you to write your testimony out. And I'd never done that before. And writing things shouldn't be a big deal, but it was one of those things like I got kind of panicked, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And I sat in that room for a couple hours trying to just write my story out and get my thoughts down on paper and try to figure out like why it was such a big deal. And so after staying in that room for a couple hours, I managed to write my whole testimony down and divulge some secrets that I'd been holding. Like, I wrote it down on a piece of paper, and then I went to my leaders and shared with them. And that was really when my heart was it was completely opened up, and I was like, this is great. And I felt peace, and I felt loved, and I just felt better. It was nice to get my thoughts out and not feel judged and just feel true love.